How's it going, people? Welcome to another episode of Grand Football TV. Yes, this is a special one. We are looking at the Carabao Cup final. Yes, Sunday, Wembley Stadium is the Carabao Cup final between Arsenal and Manchester City, two of the best teams in England right now, but with very different stories, guys. Very different stories. Arsenal this season, they are chasing a statement trophy, while City are just there trying to make sure they keep that dynasty going. So let's start with Arsenal, guys. Let's start with Arsenal. Arsenal, their road to Wembley hasn't been easy, but it has been controlled, you can say. You can say it has been controlled, especially if you remember the game in the semi-finals when they played Chelsea. They won 4-2 on aggregate, beating Chelsea. A lot of people would argue that game wasn't flashy, but it was effective. The Arsenal side have been built on discipline this season. They've been built on structure. They've been built on big moments. And these moments have mattered a lot this season. And this is Arsenal's first League Cup final since 2018. And guess who they lost to in 2018? The same Manchester City. So for Mikel, this isn't just a final. It isn't just a final. It's a chance to prove that this project that he's been on the last 6 years, you would say, is ready now to deliver trophies. It is ready to deliver trophies. Now, quickly, let us look at Manchester City. Their road to the final. For them, Carabao Cup is a familiar territory. And this season they've beat Newcastle leading up to the final. In the semi-finals, the aggregate score was 5-1. It was 5-1, beating them 3-1 and then 2-0. And honestly, they made it look easy. Newcastle is one of the teams I always think give Man City a tough game. But in the Carabao Cup, I was there for the second game, the 3-1. I was actually there in that one. That's the game I watched this season. But Newcastle were a bit poor. They just let City walk all over them. And this is what City do. This is what they do. They rotate, they dominate, and they win. They rotate, they dominate, and they win. And under Pep Guardiola, they've turned this competition into a habit. They've turned it into a habit. And coming into this final, there is pressure for this one. If you are watching this today, it's after they've just lost in the Champions League. They've been, knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid with an aggregate score of what? 5-1. What they did to Newcastle, Real Madrid did it to them. So they're coming into this game with a lot of pressure. Apart from the Champions League, they've also dropped points a lot lately in the league. Remember their last game, they dropped points to West Ham. The one before that to Nottingham Forest. So they're not looking good at the moment. They're not looking good at the moment. So let's talk form. Let's talk form at the moment. Arsenal, as you know, are currently top of the Premier League with 9 points, albeit City having a game in hand. So Arsenal, you could say, are full of confidence. Arsenal are full of confidence. Manchester City, on the other hand, are chasing, and they are sitting, like we said, 9 points behind, and they keep drawing games. And that, can have a lot of psychological effects coming into this game. So for Arsenal, this game everyone would agree, is about confirming their rise. Normally, Arsenal don't even take this, especially under Mikel. They haven't played well in the Carabao Cup. So it was only last season where they did well to get to the semi-finals, but you know, they might as well not have got there because they were well and truly beaten by Newcastle, who were the eventual winners. But this season, they've done well. They've got to the first final. For City, though, it's about reminding everyone that they are still the standard. Remember, City have won this competition quite a lot of times leading up till now. And if we're looking at the history, that's where it gets interesting. If we're looking at the history, it gets very interesting. Arsenal in this competition haven't won since 1993. They haven't won since 1993. And that's over 30 years ago. Yeah? And they also lost the 2018 final, like I said, to Manchester City. Yeah? And City, on the other hand, have dominated this competition in recent years. Yeah, they've won it multiple times under Pep Guardiola, and they know exactly how to handle the stage. Some might argue that time's over now. The time's over. So where do we think this game is going to be won? Where do we think this game is going to be won? I believe the midfield control will be everything. The midfield control will be everything. You know, the likes of Rice, Zubimendi, and Eze for Arsenal. And then for Man City, it will be Rodri, Bernardo Silva probably, and Cherki, or whoever he puts. You never know with Pep who he's going to put there. And this is going to be, you know, a tactical masterclass. The student versus the master. Who is going to win? And then we're looking at big moments in this game. You know, Eberechi Eze has been giving us some wonderful moments lately. And remember, he had a beautiful moment last season in the FA Cup final against Manchester City. That is what the Arsenal fans will be hoping for in this game as well. That he brings that beautiful moment. And there are other people who could bring moments in this game. The likes of Saka, Havertz for Arsenal. The likes of Haaland. He could bring a wonderful moment. And, you know, in this kind of game, one moment could decide everything. It could decide everything. Yeah. So this final feels like a turning point for both teams. If Arsenal win, it is the start of something. If Arsenal win, it will be the start of something. And if City win, it's more proof the dynasty isn't going anywhere. But speaking of dynasty, I don't think City are in that place. But this is football. It's a one game that could decide everything. So who do you think is going to win this Carabao Cup final? What are your predictions? Arsenal or Manchester City? As an Arsenal fan, as you can see, I'm going to predict Arsenal to win. And I'm going to go for Arsenal to beat City 3-1. 3-1. You heard it here first. Yeah, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will be bringing out the normal predictions video very soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Yo, check this.